Back at my little lathe here, guys. I've noticed for some time now, and I've been just putting up with it, but it's too much. I can't really tolerate this. The amount of backlash in the cross slide here is ridiculous. I don't know if you can see here. You can probably hear it better than you can see it. There. I mean, that's a lot. That seems excessive to me. Then the lead screw here that goes through in order to move the plate on the cross slide. I have the compound removed, of course. I take it there must be a nut in here. Perhaps I can adjust it in order to take up the backlash here. I don't know. But I can't tolerate this anymore. It's just too much. Yeah, you can, you know, wind the crank back a bit, but that only takes up so much. There's just too much slop in the system here. What's the point of a lathe if it's not going to be accurate? I don't know here. There's clearly a slotted screw and a looks like a number 3 Phillips. Take it off and see what's under here. Plate is obviously removed here, guys, and strip that you adjust with the Gibbs. Yeah, so bronze nut here, I would guess. Can you see how much movement there is there? Yeah, that's excessive. Now there is facility to adjust this. You can see the nut is cut here, and that's where this slotted screw actually comes in, that you can drive it down in the plate, and I guess within limits it will just alter the thread to tighten it just that little bit in order to take up the lash. So I think the issue here is just strictly down to wear in the thread of the nut here. So this is driven down pretty much as hard as it'll go, and there's not really doing anything, so I guess I need a new nut. But I suppose there's nothing to lose by maybe I'll put a wee touch of solder in here and retap it. No, obviously solder is extremely soft and it's not a long-term fix by any stretch of the imagination. This is only a hobby lathe, guys. It doesn't spit out 100,000 you know, pieces a day or anything like that. This thing gets used a couple of times a year. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. Got nothing to lose, I guess, if I have this tap size. Things just got considerably trickier. This is a left-hand thread. Clean the bronze nut. Bronze or brass? I don't know. Bronze, I think. Clean the nut. Clean the threads on the lead screw here. Lube the threads. Bit of GB weld in here. Run the nut off, on, and back off while it's still wet. Let it cure. I gotta take up the slop. So if you look at this little nut here, guys, look how flat those threads are. Let's call these threads that are on this side of the split compensation threads. Those are the ones that if you drive the little wedge screw down, I assume would tweak this over. Like you can see, it looks, the gap down here is much larger than up here. As I said, it's probably maxed out. See how flat those threads are? Well, those are not going to do much. You can see on the other end of the nut, the threads are better. They're still worn, but they're better. So this is the point in the video where probably some of you are asking yourselves, well, for Christ's sake, pal, you've got a lathe, just make a new one, right? Well, there's two issues. Because of the slop in here, I can't really make anything with any real degree of precision. And secondly, I'm a rank amateur. My machining skills might not be up to it anyway. A new nut is the ideal scenario, obviously, right? If they could be had. But this could be bored, a bushing pressed into here, and then it tapped with a left-hand tap to match the pitch of the lead screw here, left hand. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, let me have a think about this. Well, turns out I don't have any JB Weld, but you know, always on hand is the dollar store garbage. But I dug a wee bit deeper in my toolbox, and turns out I actually have some a Permatex product, which is designed for metal applications. 5-minute set time, 10-minute cure time. That should be plenty, I think. For best results, make sure you mix it on the back of a cracker box. I'm just going to apply this to the threads. I didn't lube the threads. I thought, well, maybe that's not a great idea if I get any oil in the threads one way or another. You know, maybe it won't bond to the nut. That's probably way too much. In fact, I think I'll take some of that off. I just want it to fill the void here now. Generate a new plug, you know. I opened the split in the nut here a wee bit with a blade in the hopes that maybe I can get some adjustment out of that. So the idea is, man, it's difficult to keep in mind. This is a left-hand thread, I tell you. So again, the idea is here, guys, I'm just going to run this in. I'm going to remove it, of course, while it is still uncured. I'll leave it for a minute in the hopes that the threads won't sag in the nut. And of course, the hope is that this will take up the slop. That's the plan anyway. As I said, I don't really have that much to lose, I don't think. It feels way better. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Maybe I shouldn't have mixed the hardener. So of course I cleaned the epoxy off the lead screw there, guys. So there's not much epoxy in there, and it occurs to me the issue with this will be that the epoxy is going to want to stick to the major diameter, you know, in the thread, whereas it's the minor diameter of this internally threaded nut that is really worn. So yeah, maybe this is not a great idea. Oh, Mrs. will not be happy if she sees this. So that's starting to cure up nicely there, guys. I only threw it in the oven at like 150 degrees, you know, in the hopes to accelerate the cure a wee bit without cooking it. Right, so I'm going to call this a quasi-success, guys. There's definitely less slop in the nut, but there is still some. I'm hoping when I cinch up the adjuster grub screw here that it'll take even a little bit more at the system, but I don't know if you can see what's the best spot to get the movement. It's definitely better. It is definitely better. I also adjusted the hand wheel here. Took everything apart. It was all filthy, of course, right? And there was a wee bit of slop in the adjustment as well, so I've greased everything up. That's no doubt taking a fraction of the play out as well. And yeah, the graduation wheel is nicely adjusted, just the right amount of drag on it now. Nice. Okay, I'll put it back together and we'll see what's what. It's all cleaned up, of course. Okay, so that's cross slide all back together, guys. I just need to drop the compound back on top. I've got all lubed up, everything's tightened up. I'm happy with the drag. This has never felt so nice. It's cleaned up and lubed. And let me see, try and get the slide right on the edge here. Just keep an eye. We can't hear it. I can't hear it for starters. Maybe you guys never could on the soundtrack, but that's much better than what it was. It really is much better. And I suppose it all adds up, right? So the adjustment in the hand wheel, there's a wee bit of slop there, wee bit of slop in the nut. I re-greased everything, cleaned everything up. It's taken up a bit of lash, no doubt, right? And when I wound down the Backlash grub screw adjustment, I could feel the load changing on the hand wheel though there, so it is definitely altering the drag on the threads. So it's still functional in that regard. Yeah, so just a matter of dropping the compound back on and that'll be that. Is it the ideal fix? No, definitely not. As I said, a new nut would be the ideal situation, but it's just a hobby lathe. The guys at Disney have a lot of duty cycle on it, and doesn't need to last forever. It just needs to outlast me. That's it, boys. Cheers. This bench needs a bit of work. Its longitudinal stability is okay, but its lateral stability, not good. I think it needs some cross bracing or some gussets. Kind of idiot checks the manual after he's done the job. There's the nut, item 3. Item 3 lists 2 different nuts. How come? One's metric and one is a SAE, American standard. Google that. Should have measured the thread pitch now. Oh well.